What's going on, guys? Wait on Hookah back. Today I've got another review. Today we're going to be talking about the Cloud Mini V2. So as many of you know, the Cloud Mini, the original Cloud Mini that you see here, is actually one of my favorite hookahs, and it's my most viewed video on YouTube to date. Very proud of that, but regardless, it's still a great hookah. But as you've seen, Shishabucks has gone through their other models, like the Cloud 1, and you've seen them come out with the Cloud Micro, and they've made improvements. They've made a lot of little changes, a lot of little quality of life changes that make the overall smoking experience a little bit better. Just a little step up. But regardless, it was about time, and they came through with those improvements and slapped them onto the Cloud Mini V2 that you see today. Now, the special guest that I hinted to last week was this guy. This is Alex, my high school best friend, and he has actually had my Cloud Mini for the last few months because he's been getting a lot of thorough testing done on it, so he can talk to quite a big extent of what he likes on this one versus this one, or this one versus this one. So, please welcome Alex.
What's up, guys? It's Alex here. The V2 is excellent compared to the V1. It is just a step above. It definitely hits all the improvements that I'd like from the V1. The V1 is an excellent pipe by itself, but the V2, if you want a better smoke, it just takes it that next step level.
So, we said the Cloud Mini V2 has some improvements. What are those? So, in the Cloud Micro, we saw a 4-corner purge implemented into the design. We're seeing that now applied to the Cloud Mini V2. And overall, it functions a lot better. It's a lot quieter, as you'll hear now. And it's a lot more efficient at clearing the smoke out. The only really pseudo complaint I have about it is that sometimes when you purge, not all 4 of the corners will purge. It doesn't affect the performance at all. However, it definitely makes it definitely is there. I mean, I don't know. There's no real fix to that except for purging a little bit harder. But either way, like I said, it doesn't affect anything, so it really shouldn't bother you at all. The V1 actually was the first with the invisible purge. So this is one of those examples of where they took that, they just went a step further. They went to that next step of where they just made it quieter and they made it more efficient.
The purge on it is excellent. The purge is much quieter. I have to say, the purge on the V1 is quite loud. I have to say, the 4 corners actually adds to why it makes it quieter on the V2. The V1 has 2 slots here on the sides of the base, and that leads to a large rattle when you purge on it. The V2 has an excellent purge. It has the 4 corners. It's quiet and it's quite smooth.
So one of the other improvements that we've seen on the Cloud Mini V2 is the hose. The hose, as was redesigned with the actually the Cloud 1 V3, we saw this soft touch silicone hose come into play. They've taken that a step further with the Cloud Micro, which we saw back in December, and they added the extra length to it, making it a much longer handle. And so now we're seeing the full implementation of that onto the Cloud Mini V2. Now, something I want to touch on with that is that the hose port, where it actually connects to the hookah, it has a coil in here. I've noticed that the Cloud Mini V2 hose with the coil, it does add some restriction, and that's something I noticed on my Cloud 1 V3 after a few months of smoking as well. So I have actually removed the coil. It's totally removable. You just pop this off, pop it out, and you're good to go. And I don't know. I feel like it just adds a little bit of restriction. It's not a huge difference, but it's definitely noticeable in my opinion, especially when you're comparing these 2 pipes side by side, because another point is the draw is identical. You're going to have the same draw on these regardless of which one you go with. Obviously, you can't really get this one now, but if you have this one, the draw is the same on this. Alex, do you like the new hose with the added length?
The added length on the hose definitely helps out. I could tell over the past month and a half that I had the V1 that it was the hose itself. While yes, it has quite a sizable length here, the V2 takes it and it extends it, and the extension on it is very well fitting. And I have to say, when I'm sitting at my desk doing desk work on my PC, I have to say, I would appreciate a longer hose on the V1, and that's where I think the V2's hose comes into play, and it is an excellent length for sitting at a desk, having your hookah propped up right next to you, the hose at least, and you can have both hands accessible on the keyboard and mouse.
And something else to touch on. If you like that V1 handle, this is actually removable. So you can take this and screw it in for a shorter handle. And this is, I think it's actually, let me see. This is shorter than the V1. So if you like short hoses, there you go. You don't need to compensate for anything. You know what you're doing in life. But I need to compensate, and I like big hoses. So with the Cloud Mini V1, it allowed for the implementation of a different kind of silicone hose if you replaced the adapter onto that silicone hose that you were going to use. The Cloud Mini V2 actually takes it another step further. They've removed that functionality, and you can actually now put any hose into the V1 that you want. So it's just got a silicone heart, which is part of the design that we're going to talk about later. The silicone heart means you can just stick any hose, just jam it right in there. You can just stick any hose you want in there, and it's going to work fine, and the silicone helps it to keep it sealed. You can put a grommet in there if you want, just for a little bit of added seal, but you really don't need one. I've used it with the D hose, my Timber hose, Thunder Slim hose. You can use it with just about anything, although with this new hose, I really don't feel the need to. I really enjoy this hose, and I enjoy the functionality that comes with it. So next thing we're going to touch on is the diffuser. One of my biggest complaint, probably my biggest complaint overall with the Mini V1, was that the diffuser just sucked ass. Go ahead and take a pull, Alex, and just show them what you're talking about. It doesn't do much in terms of quieting the hookah down. It does help prevent water from getting in your hose, but it doesn't make for a quieter smoking experience. With the new V2, this is the first time they've implemented a true screw-on diffuser. So this actually helps prevent one, water getting in your hose, and it really does help quiet it down. I'll let you. It just provides for a much cleaner and much quieter smoking experience, and it still does help prevent watering. It does help to prevent water from getting into your hose.
The diffusers are very nice, especially on the V2, because it allows the hookah to be much quieter. I personally live in an apartment complex, and I have to say, I don't really like that my walls are about paper thin, so you can really hear just about anything. So having a quiet hookah is very nice, because that way other people aren't disturbed by it, and also I still get my enjoyable smoke.
And you actually use a HEPA diffuser on this normally, don't you?
I do, and that's because it is just a touch quieter than the diffuser that comes with the V1. The V1's diffuser, while yes, is very good, it still absolutely roars. And that's wonderful, but I do like to be considerate.
Yeah, and I think the HEPA diffuser is actually still a little bit quieter than the provided diffuser with the V2. However, this is definitely a step up, and this is actually where I like it, because it doesn't completely nullify the rumble, and it doesn't really add any restriction to the smoking experience either. It just provides a nice, quiet smoke, so you can be considerate of your girlfriend when you're watching movies like me, or your apartment mates, I guess, when you're Alex. You know, you gotta be considerate once in a while.
Take it for what it is.
Take it for what it's worth, bitch. Get it right at least. God damn.
God.
So, one of the smaller differences that they've added onto the Mini V2 is actually the tray. So the tray rests on the V1 were just little nubs that stuck onto the body of the Mini. So those actually fall off, and I had some issues where I lost them a few times and I had to find them. And a lot of customers were reporting that at Shishabucks. So they've changed that, and instead of having this kind of nub design, they've just added a grommet onto the stem itself of the V2, so that it just sits on the grommet and it's not going to fall, not going to wiggle. You can see it'll wiggle if you want it to. I don't have the grommet down far enough apparently, but it just makes it so it's going to scratch the body of the stem itself. It's not a huge deal. I mean, I never really had a problem with this, but it's just one of those little things to show that Shishabucks really cares. They're really listening to customer feedback, and they're going that extra mile. So probably my other biggest complaint with the V1 was actually the LED light that came provided with it. It's submergible, and 9 times out of 10 they just kind of crap out on you. They leak, they get water into them, and they just die. I probably had 3 or 4 go out on me over the year that I've had this, through other like minis and micros that I've had. So with that, they finally made a big change to that. They've completely taken the LED light out of the package with the V2. So if you don't like the LED, you don't have to worry about it. There's no cutout for it, there's nothing that comes with it. If you want, you can buy an LED stand that comes separately. The LED stand, standalone, I think it's $20 or so. I'll, you can look at Shishabucks' website if you want and check that. But it's standalone, so there's no chance of it getting submerged. It's literally the same LED, the same lighting, the same colors, literally the same remote works for everything. And for me, I think it does make a big difference because I don't have to worry about it. I can just put it on there, and it's nice to have a stand for it. The stand does not perfectly fit the Mini. It does perfectly match the Micro and the Cloud 1 bases, though. Alex, do you use the light in your daily sessions?
I don't use the light in my sessions. The light does add a very nice effect to the hookah, and I think it'd be great to show off while you have guests and you smoke with guests. But I think for everyday smoking, the light isn't very necessary. It is very nice, and the color on it is very interesting when it changes. So again, guests will definitely enjoy it, and it will add to your hookah experience and get them into it and make them more amicable towards smoking hookah and create a memorable experience with it. But for everyday smokers like us, I would say the light isn't very necessary, but it does add a very nice effect to it.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about having the stand as optional. If you do like the light, you can buy it, and it'll have a better experience with it. You don't have to worry about it crapping out. You have it, it's there. You can turn it on if you want to. If not, you just got a little stand. So it's kind of nice. It's not going to be for everyone. It's kind of hit or miss. I mean, if you want it, buy it. If you don't, cool. That's up to you. You don't have to worry about it coming with it. You don't have to worry about it breaking. You don't have to worry about the little cutout in the middle that never really hurt anyone anyway. So one of the other big changes that you'll see on the Mini V2 is that it actually has added two-hose functionality. So they reworked the whole base. They changed it to what the Micro base looks like, where it's completely silicone on the inside. What this does is that it means it's going to have a better grip to the base. Not that this ever had a bad grip, but the grip just went up a little notch. And with that, they've added the two-hose functionality. So there's a plug that comes standard with it. You just pop it out through the heart before you start smoking, and you put it, and you just pop another hose in if you want to smoke. Alex and I actually tested it, and it works well. You do have to plug the hose, like your old school Chinese two-hose days, and it is what it is. You can take that for what it's worth, but it's not going to be for everyone, but the functionality is there if you want to do it. I've heard they are working on an auto seal technology, but I'm not sure to what extent that they're doing that. Alex, did you enjoy smoking when we smoked with a two-hose setup?
The two-hose setup was very nice. The smoke itself was excellent. The draws on it, other than having to put your thumb right over the other end of the hose, was very nice, and it felt like smoking out of the hookah as if it were a one-hose.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things, is a lot of two-hose hookahs, if you add a second hose, it doesn't smoke like just a single hose, and that's why I think the American market as a whole has kind of shied away from those. This really takes it, and they did a great job with it. It's not something I'm going to use once in a while, but it was really nice when we smoked, and I didn't have to clean two hookahs, I only had to clean the one hookah. So, if you like that, it's there. If not, the seal comes with it. So, use it if you want to. Don't worry about it if you don't want to. So that's going to about wrap it up for us today, guys. This has been Wade on Hookah with Wade and Alex, our special guests of the day. Shout out to Alex for joining us. And if you guys haven't, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that motherfucking like button. I'm gonna need you to smash it real fucking hard. Just smash that shit. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the pipe, please drop those in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and happy smoke. And this is where we smoke together.
Oh.
Okay, you ready?